WATD presents John Paul, the Car Doctor. All things automotive. Have questions? Call 781-837-4900. Now, here's John Paul, the Car Doctor.
And good Sunday morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Car Doctor program on 95.9 WATD, your South Shores radio station, and welcome to the first program of fall. Pretty sure it's fall. I think fall started yesterday, so welcome to fall, and it feels like it, especially where I am. It's cold and damp and 60 degrees, and we actually lit a fire in the fireplace last night, so take a little chill out of the air. So it's start to think about getting your car ready for winter time and cold weather, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Electric vehicles certainly all in the news. We look at you can't really pick up any kind of media, whether it's an actual newspaper or look on your phone or anything where you see some information about electric vehicles. And one of the things that tends to come up with electric vehicles is electric vehicle fires. And although gasoline cars start on fire every single day, they don't make the news. But when an electric car starts on fire, it makes the news. And with us is Michael Moe. He is the CEO of Kulr Technologies, and Kulr is a company that has put together sort of a containment system to try to help with some of these lithium battery runaway systems. Isn't that right, Michael?
Yeah. Hey, good morning, John. Great to be with you. Yes, we put energy management systems together to control the lithium-ion battery thermal runaway issue that you just talked about.
And that's one of the things that when you look at these lithium battery fires, and in the future it looks like maybe there's going to be some additional types of batteries that might be available. Graphene has some future, although it's pretty expensive to make. Lithium certainly seems to be the go-to for right now. Is it as much of a problem as the media makes it out to be, or is it something that we just need to look at as just another thing that can catch on fire?
Yeah, no, I think that this is lithium-ion battery fires are a different type than your typical gasoline fires. I think that at your opening statement, you mentioned something about gasoline cars catch fire every day, but here lithium-ion battery or EVs, they're fairly new, right? So the average EV cars are probably 3-4 years old, and then they have different conditions in catching fire. Some of it's inherent, some of it's doing collision, some of it's doing charging, and in the case of Florida, when you have flooding. The salt water go in there and corrode the battery, and then you can have battery fires spontaneously after the flooding. So it's a different level of danger than your typical gasoline cars. So far there's no known way of putting that fire out, and it's a very, very violent fire. So it's a different level of danger, and then I think that from firefighter to the industry and to suppliers like us, we're all trying to address this issue very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, where do you think electric vehicles are going to go? I mean, there's talk that depending on where you live, whether it's California or Massachusetts, electric vehicles will be the only thing sold, or the majority of anything sold by 2035. Although I guess just in Europe now, they sort of backed off on some of the electric vehicle mandates. Where do you see electric vehicles going?
Yeah, I think that electric vehicle we're the early innings of how the evolution is going to come about. The world consumes or sells about 100+ million cars a year. I think there's a DOE study saying that if by 2030, based on this, the automotive OEM's roadmap of producing somewhere around 30 to 40 million EVs a year, that's about 30 to 40% of the market in the world. We're going to start running out of the material to power these, batteries. I think we're going to be short, based on the DOE report, somewhere around 50 to 60%. There's just not enough cobalt, enough rare earth material to supply all those batteries. So I think that we're at the early innings of that. I think that we're going to start looking at new architectures, whether it's hybrid or new chemistry, and just different ways to be more sustainable. Everybody's trying to compete on, hey, my battery can run 600 miles, 700 miles. I mean, when you think about it, you're literally carrying a gas station on your back, just trying to go get some trying to get some groceries. So, is that really that necessary, or is it a different way of thinking about electrification that we should go? And I think that fast charging will go a long way to remove the range anxiety, and therefore helping the whole industry to consume less of the battery per vehicle, and therefore more vehicles could have some kind of electrification power, maybe in a hybrid situation with something else.
And, one of the things that seems to be coming up is sort of the second life of some of these EV batteries. I keep reading about how, the EV battery, when it's worn out in a Tesla, for instance, it can be disassembled, and part of those battery packs can be reused from everything from power walls to solar generators. Are you seeing that as well at your end?
Yeah, that's where the second life application, the recyclability of it, sustainability of it, and then safety and thermal management becomes very key. So this is where Kulr comes in. We provide the energy management system to keep these batteries safe, and then we take it. Our technology is developed to be on the Mars rover, to be on the International Space Station. So now we're helping commercial customers to take their batteries and make it second life applications very safe. So in the case you were talking about, if the batteries go down to below 80% capacity from the original use, different applications, whether it's EV or electric planes, we'll start recycling these batteries for the energy storage application that I just talked about, because there's still a few years of life in them, and then this is where you need to know how safe the batteries are, where they have been, and then also the containment system that you talked about that Kulr provides to keep them safe throughout multiple lives of use.
Well, let's back up to something you just said, that your system is used in the International Space Station and the Mars rover?
Yes. We work with NASA and for many years. So our thermal management system is used on the Mars rover Perseverance. It's on the red planet right now to keep the instruments and the battery cool and safe. And then we also provide the lithium-ion battery storage containment system for the astronauts' laptops, portable batteries, tablets on the International Space Station. It's been on there since 2019, and then we have utilized that technology and developed commercial version of that technology. Work with our partner called Serba Solution, which is the largest battery recycling company in North America. And then that system is available for them to recycle batteries of all kinds, from EV batteries to your smartphone batteries to power tools. And it's going to start showing up in retailers, in smartphone stores, in recycle centers around the country.
When you were a kid in college, did you ever think anything that you'd be working on would be in intergalactic?
Yeah, great question. When I was a kid in college, I was just trying to survive the day, to be honest. Never thought that far ahead, John. But my education is in electrical engineering, computer science from the University of California. And then throughout my kind of a technology career, I've always been in the semiconductor and the software world. But 2013, I met Dr. Tim Knowles, my partner, and I realized that thermal management, heat, is really becoming a limiting factor for performance and reliability on these new electronics. And little did I know, after I started Kulr with Dr. Knowles, NASA calling, and in 2015, 2016 time, and then this is when they start thinking about putting lithium-ion batteries on the space station, on the astronauts' backpack, and so forth, and through all the work that Tim has done with them, and they called us to work on solutions. So really fortunate working with NASA Johnson Space Center, Marshall, JPL throughout the years, and develop a lot of technology around that. Now we're commercialization of those type of technology for commercial use. EVs, energy storage, electric plane, EV tools, power tools, e-bikes. We got a lot of customers coming to us. Really want these technologies to help them design and keep their batteries safer.
I just think it must have been an interesting phone call when the phone rang and it was NASA calling saying, "Hey, we'd like to talk to you guys and see what you can do to help us out."
It's a privilege. It's totally a privilege to work with them. Throughout the years, we provide them technology, and then we also license technology from NASA. There's a couple of battery safety technology we are an exclusive licensee from NASA, and then actually one of them received the Commercialization Award of the Year last year. Because our effort in commercialization of that, and now we have over 50 customers, from EV customers, e-bike, EV tow, which is electric plane, to use this technology to test for battery safety. Tim has since retired. My partner, and Dr. Will Walker, who has joined us as our new CTO last year. He was the thermal management and battery safety lead at NASA Johnson Space Center, where he spent 13 years. So now we're not only supplying NASA, we're helping NASA to commercialization of their technology, and also we hire CTO from the NASA roots and a lot of engineers from there. So it's a NASA heritage. Inside out.
No, and it's not like when you're in a space station, if all of a sudden your laptop starts to smoke, you can't exactly throw it out the window. So it is so important to be able to do this. Are batteries in general, and I guess whether it's electric vehicles or electric propulsion or battery storage, is it really? Is this the new sort of circular economy that it kind of starts at one end and finishes up something completely different at the end? Is this what's sort of referred to as that circular economy? And are batteries a key part of that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's about reusability, sustainability. And so forth. Like you said, you at the International Space Station, there's no window to throw a smoking laptop out, right? It's probably one of the most expensive real estate, not just on Earth, in the universe. Yeah, and so safety is absolutely of paramount importance. In terms of circular economy, I think it's about energy generation and energy storage. When you think about other aspects in our lives, whether it's water, food, other essential parts of life, we have a storage system. You can store water in your water tank. You can store food, obviously, in your fridge, dry food, etc. But energy is very hard to store. So the generation of energy is being consumed almost, instantaneously. But when you have storage, it kind of changes the dynamics. Like information, you have storage, store on your iPhone, on your tablet. Just imagine that your iPhone doesn't have any storage on it. You got to take a photo, or you got to get a photo from the cloud all the time. It just becomes very cumbersome. This is, excuse me, what happens with storage or with energy storage. You have to have attached to generation at all times. But when you have affordable, reliable, sustainable, and safe, ready to use energy storage at the consumption level, then it can change how energy gets generated and energy gets stored and energy gets transmitted. And they can remove some of the blackouts, transmission issues, and shutting down, and maybe even some of the wildfire gets created in California here. So it can change the dynamics of the energy complex, and this is, I think, where the circular economy becomes enabled and facilitated through these type of sustainable and safe energy storage systems. And then, like I said, we're just at the very beginning of that, and there's going to be many evolutions of this, and we're just thrilled to be part of that.
Yeah, as we were talking, I just typed in Kulr Technologies into my browser to kind of look and see what you guys are up to. And recently I was just watching. It was a preview of a pretty semi-autonomous drone that could carry 2 people, and it had a series of 4 motors on it that ran these 4 propellers, and you guys are working on technology now to minimize any kind of vibration on those types of systems too, right?
Yeah, yes, that is correct. So we acquired a technology called Kulr Vibe last year. And so we believe that this is a very integral part of how to make energy sustainable through electric mobility. In drone, and when a very large drone carry people, it's called the eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, and so it's most of it is powered by a battery, so you got to keep the battery safe and sustainable. And during takeoff and landing, the batteries are overcharged. You try to get as much juice or power from the battery as possible, so you can take off and land safely. And then during the flight, vibration is a key part of it, both from a comfort level as well as from the energy consumption level. It's also from a safety level. From an energy consumption point of view, vibration is friction, or it's created, or it's an effective friction. So when you have friction or excessive level of friction, then it takes energy away from your system, and then that becomes wasted energy, like heat. So by removing that, what Kulr Vibe does is identifies where the vibration comes from the source of that, and then we have a way to remove that, so it makes your motors run smoother, and the passenger flight experience to be much smoother. In some cases, we are able to eliminate vibration by up to 99%. And in a delivery drone cases, you can increase the flight time with the same battery. You can increase the flight time by up to 25%. And you can increase the lift by up to 30%. So imagine the same battery, you can fly longer and lift more weight just by removing the energy being consumed through vibration. So we thought there was a lot of promise of that. And by integrating that with the battery safety and battery sustainability technology, then we can provide drone customers, eVTOL customers, electric plane customers a total system to make their electrification powertrain more sustainable and safer.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and the website is Kulr Technology, but it's not spelled the way people think. It's Kulr. What's the name?
What's the name in terms of
how'd you come up with Kulr?
Well, we thought thermal management. We're trying to keep things cooler, lighter, and safer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cooler, lighter, and safer. That's kind of our mission. And back in 2013, this is when Uber and all the different four-letter, cooler words, if you no pun intended, is being kind of thrown around, and then we kind of had some fun with the idea, and it kind of came about and kind of stuck with us, and then just been since then. And then I think that cooler, lighter, safer has been our mission. And continue to be that way. Yeah.
No, it sounds it. And for people who want to check it all out, maybe they want to see what you guys are up to, or stay in touch with you, or invest with you, or whatever the case is. It's kulrtechnology.com, and they can learn about you. They can learn about your operating, what you guys are up to, as well as some of your leadership as well, and kind of see where it's all going. And I just think, as we, whether it's, I pick up my cordless drill that has lithium batteries in it, or my electric bicycle that has lithium batteries in it, or I'm staring at my laptop, my tablet, and my phone right now, and as far as that goes, a cordless headset that has lithium batteries in it. The idea that these batteries can be, if something happens with them, that they can be, that they're safer, just makes a lot of sense. And like you said, the idea that you're adding safety and lightweight to these battery systems and the electronics industry, I think is pretty amazing. And you're the only guy I know who has stuff outside of the earth we live in. So pretty remarkable that your products are out in the universe now. So pretty amazing stuff. Michael, I want to thank you for taking a little time out of your Sunday morning and joining us on the Car Doctor program.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much, John. It's great to be with you. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. We need to take a break and pay some bills. My name's John Paul. This is a Car Doctor program. If you would like to join us, 781-837-4900 is the phone number, 781-837-4900. Love to hear from you and see what's on your mind on this Sunday morning, the first Sunday morning of fall. We'll be right back.
AAA is with you at every moment in your life. They have 24-hour 7 roadside assistance, which covers you in any car you're driving or riding in, even a rental or your friend's wheels. They have great member rates on home and auto insurance, savings on travel, hotels, and rental cars, and discounts on hundreds of your favorite brands. You're covered on and off the road. Learn more at aaa.com/join.
On Friday, October 20th, join South Shore Health at their annual Moonlight and Miracles Gala, featuring a seated dinner, live auction with MC Billy Costa, and music by local band Hot Mess. This year's event at the Weymouth Club will support the growing need for emergency care in our community. In life or death scenarios, close-to-home emergency care is critical. Support these valuable services and purchase your tickets for the Moonlight and Miracles Gala right now at southshorehealth.org/gala.
This is my time. Hey guys, it's Lexi James.
And we're Crier Creek.
Twilight Showcase Radio, hosted by Sandy Stride and Keith James.
Tune into Twilight Showcase Radio Sundays on 95.9 WATD and 95.9 WATD.com. Search for Twilight Showcase on Facebook.
And visit twilightshowcase.org.
Twilight Showcase, tomorrow night from 7 to 9 on 95.9 WATD. Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program. If you were thinking about going up to Gore Place today for the Motorheads Car Club show, it has been postponed. Kind of a rainy, miserable day. Probably wouldn't have many people show up. But that's 52 Gore Street in Waltham. I got a message that says it was postponed from Greg Anderson. He called in 2 weeks ago, I think. It's been postponed to October 22nd. So if you were heading up there today, the show is going to run till about 2:30. It was postponed. It will be hopefully on October 22nd. So you can go check it out, the Motorheads show, and you can find out more information. It says go to motorheadscarclub.net to find out more information about the car club. But that was going to be, There was going to be food, a DJ, trophies, raffles, 50-50 raffle, face painting, ice cream truck, more vendors than they can list on this little thing, and all the proceeds to the benefit the proceeds to benefit the Community Day Center of Waltham. So if you were heading up there, don't head up there right now. Wait until October 22nd. So it's still car show season. The problem is the winter has been pretty hard on, the weather's been pretty hard on weekend stuff. There have been some tough weekends. Someone just wrote to me and said, after years of being my own mechanic and as a hobby restoring British classics, at age 80, in the beginning of the pandemic, my body and my wife told me, you're done. So forget about the 2 John Deere small tractors I maintain. I started building model cars. I've accumulated almost 40 and have given a few away to friends, sold a few, and now I'm lacking room for display. I've also accumulated 6 plus for the upcoming winter. Any idea where I could donate these? Yeah, probably someplace like the Lars Anderson Auto Museum, maybe even the Newport Car Museum. We're going to be talking to Gunther in a couple of weeks, by the way. They have a big auction going on down there. They love to put stuff on display, but something like that could be a good place to donate them. Those are sort of the local ones, maybe even Audrain, which I've never been to the Audrain Auto Museum. I know people who have been there. I've emailed them a couple of times to see if they wanted to be on the program to talk about it. I believe their car week was supposed to be coming up this week. They kind of didn't have the best weather for that either. I did get an invitation to go to it just the other day, I think, from not from them. It was actually from the Boston McLaren. Sent me an invitation to go, but obviously didn't go, and probably I'm not. I'm sure the McLaren display probably happened because I think a couple of years ago, pre-COVID, I went because AAA was a sponsor, and McLaren sponsored the nighttime dinner thing, which was pretty entertaining. So, anyway, this is Bill from Rehoboth who wants to know where to donate his 40 or so model cars that he's been building. And, interestingly, it says both his body and his wife have told him he has to be done. So someone also wrote to me and said they want to sell their car. They said, I hope you can help me selling our 2017 Subaru Outback. And my daughter suggested going through Carvana, CarMax, AutoNation, or another to get a way better offer than the dealer since we're buying a new Forester. Never used that service, wanted your opinion about it. One of the questions was, how do you get your money? Is it secure? Does it work? Yeah, it works. There's no question about it. People sell cars to Carvana. There's another one called Vroom, VROOM, CarMax. I don't know about AutoNation. CarMax, I don't know if they pick the car up like Carvana and Vroom do. They may. In fact, I was thinking about selling the older Volkswagen we have, and I contacted them, and they just kind of ask you how many miles on it. Is there any check engine lights on? How are the tires? What's the overall condition? Don't play up the condition. If it's average, it's average. Don't. A lot of people think, oh, my car's always in good condition. It might not be that good. If it's got some dents and dings and, does it have 2 keys, which is very important these days because you're not making keys for $5 anymore. You can spend $500 on a new key. So you need to be aware of all of that. The other thing to be aware of, too, is if you sell your car outright, it's going to affect the sales tax that you're going to pay on your new car. So say you're going to go buy a new car for $30,000, $35,000, and your used car was worth $15,000. Well, that $15,000 would go towards the new car price, so you'd only be paying the sales tax on the $15,000 purchase of the new car because you already paid the sales tax once on your old car. If you're selling your car outright and you're buying a new car, you're going to be paying the sales tax on that full $35,000 car. So there's going to be a little bit of a difference in that. So that could be $1,000 or more. So, if you're looking at, well, Carvana's offering me $16,000 and the dealer's offering me $15,000, when you do the other part of the math, you may find out that really the numbers aren't as strong as they seem. Sure, everybody wants to have an extra $1,000 in their pocket, but if you're taking it out of what you're going to have to pay in the sales tax in the new car, it makes it a little more complicated. Our phone number is 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. Let's talk to Johnny from Marshfield. Johnny, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
What can we do for you? Hello. What can we do for you?
I was going to suggest about the guy with the model cars that he could try to find a museum, or Marshfield Community Christmas will be having their auction pretty soon, so he could donate them to them.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea because I'm sure something like that would be a hot item at an auction. People love some of these model cars, and I've seen some that go from pretty simple to some pretty exotic ones too. So yeah, that's a really good idea. I really appreciate you calling in and asking and giving us that suggestion.
Hey, no problem. Have a good day.
Oh, you as well. Bye now.
Bye.
One of our listeners, she's actually up in Derry, New Hampshire, and she wrote to me a while back. She said her name is Paula, and she has worked for Gillette and the T, I believe. And one of the things she does is she believes that pretty much everything should be stainless steel in a car to help improve the life of the vehicle. There's too much planned obsolescence of cars just rusting away, and I think this was a result of maybe talking about brake lines and brake line repairs, and how she uses stainless steel to replace brake lines as opposed to the regular steel lines. I have become a fan of something called NICOP. It's a nickel copper brake line that uses I think only about 10% steel, so it's pretty rust resistant, and better than that, it's also really easy to use. It's very soft. It's almost like working with a regular copper light copper tubing, like a 3/16 copper tubing. So it's easy to bend, it's easy to flare, it works really well, and it's as strong. It's what's used on a lot of European vehicles, and it just works out well. It's more expensive than conventional steel line, but because of that, it's also it tends to last a really long time. But again, she was saying how wanted to take the door off a van that they have to do some rust repairs, and the rusted bottom door, so I can redo the door bottom completely out of stainless steel. So they had to cut some holes and patch the holes afterwards. I'm a little bit jealous because A, I don't have a plasma cutter, and B, I'm not a good welder, and only because I guess I never really practiced. I never worked in a place where we had anything other than oxygen acetylene torch, so all I ever did was braze. I was not good at trying to gas weld, and I don't know that anybody's really good at trying to gas weld. I'm sure there's people out there that are, but with a stick welder, I could kind of put things together. I had a flux coated wire welder that I bought from Harbor Freight for $100 or something. I used it to fix a broken snowblower and tack something on my lawnmower, and did a few little minor things with it. It worked fine for what it was. When I ended up moving, I ended up I don't know if I sold it or gave it to the Votech school, one or the other. I gave a lot of stuff to the local Votech school, but I never considered being able to weld with it. It was more that I was able to stick things together with it, and again, I wasn't particularly good at it for that. So but it's always good to, if you can have that, if you have room for that, it's always good. She also put a flywheel in this van and used these stainless steel bolts they look like they're about 8 inches long to support the transmission, so to slide the transmission out and then be able to get a wrench up in there without having to take transmission out, which sent me a picture of it, and I did something similar once. There was a I shouldn't say short period of time. There was a period of time I worked doing some work at night for a used car dealer. So you'd be by yourself, and if it was something like, put a clutch in a car or something, you're working by yourself. They didn't have a lift. They just had ramps and jack stands. So there was times where you tried to get around having to pull a transmission out. So the idea of trying to slide a transmission back to be able to get to it made some sense. So that sort of worked. If you want to join us, our phone number is 781-837-4900. Phone lines are open on this rainy fall day. Would love to talk to you and see what's on your mind about the automotive world and the vehicle. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of distracted here today, and I don't quite know why, but I am. And I want to talk about the car that got me around, which was an electric car. It was the Genesis GV60. It's an all-electric compact SUV from Genesis. Genesis is the luxury brand of Hyundai. The GV60 is Genesis' first vehicle to be built on the dedicated EV platform known as the Electric Global Modular Platform, or EGMP, marking the brand's move towards electrification. And we'll have to see where all this electrification goes. Will people at some point say, I don't know that I want to spend that kind of money, or I still have concerns about range anxiety, or I live in an old house with an old electrical service and I can't just put a 50 amp outlet by the corner of my house and be expected to use it to charge up my car every day because I live in a house that has an old 60 amp electrical service or something. We'll have to wait and see where it all goes. This particular vehicle is available in 3 models: a standard rear-wheel drive model, a standard 4-wheel drive model, and the performance model with the 4-wheel drive. Each features the same battery. It's a 77.4 kilowatt battery. Standard rear-wheel drive model features a maximum driving range of 280 miles. Our road test was in the GV Performance version with front and rear electric motors. These motors are rated at 160 kilowatts, so about 214 horsepower each. Delivers just short of 430 horsepower. Pretty amazing horsepower, but even more than that, pretty amazing torque. The stated driving range is 248 miles with the dual motors. And but I found that with slow level 1 charging, which is the only way I can charge up at home because I live in a very little cottage, I don't have level 2 charging. I don't know that I would ever put level 2 charging at my house just for that reason. But I do have that Juice Plus charging cable, which I can plug into an outlet that is a 20 amp 110 volt outlet. So it charges a little bit faster than a conventional 15 amp outlet, but additionally it seems like that slow charging puts a little bit more juice in the battery. And I saw 285 miles in range when I charged up that way. Technology is abundant in the GV60. It also features road active noise control, so it's technology to minimize noise. It uses various sound absorbing materials to achieve silence while driving. Safety features include everything: forward collision assist, lane keeping assistant, blind spot warning, driver attention warning, which dinged a couple times when I was driving it, rear side monitors, high beam assist, so automatic high beams, smart cruise control, navigation based smart cruise control, so your car knows where you are on the road. It also looks at speeds and all that sort of stuff. Highway driving assistant, rear view monitor, surround view monitor, so you know kind of what's going on all around the car, parking distance warning, and of course it's got that Smart Park system, which allows you to start up the car and back it out of a parking space or drive it out of a parking space without you being in it. It's cute when you do it. It shocks people. Is it? I don't know. I haven't been blocked in a parking spot yet while I've had one of these cars. So I could see how it happened. I remember once at work, I came out and someone had parked about 6 inches away from my driver's door. And I'm like, well, that meant I had to either go back in, find out who owned the car, ask them to move the car, or climb in through the passenger door, which is what I did. And it was a little annoying, certainly. But, you know, if I had Smart Park, I could have pushed a button and had it back right out. And that would have been nice, I guess. The other thing I thought was weird was it's an electric car. It has an electric motor. It doesn't make engine sounds, but it can. It actually has an electronic sound system in it that can deliver everything from an e-motor sound, so an electric motor sound, to a gasoline engine sound, to, I don't know, it was cute. I kind of liked the Jetsons sort of sound that it could make, but the idea of fake engine sounds just don't really appeal to me. I don't know. I don't think they're necessary. It's a fun car to drive, though. Instant torque, 400 horsepower. The performance is outstanding. There's even a boost button, which adds more horsepower for 10 seconds, so sort of a little fast and furious, kind of like hitting a nitrous switch. Takes about 8 hours to charge it with a level 2 charger. You can charge up to 90% at a high speed, like a 350 kilowatt, like Electrify America, in less than 30 minutes. For a small SUV, the ride's actually pretty good. I think it has to do with their electronic control system. We'll talk about air suspension in just a bit. The passenger compartment has wide, comfortable front seats. The controls are modern. They rely heavily on a touchscreen, but there are buttons for major functions. The shifter may be one of the most unique that I've ever seen. I thought Jaguar had a pretty cool shifter once that popped up out of the center console. This one is a crystal ball that sort of lights up when you open it, but once you start it, the ball flips over to become a shift knob. So it looks really cool. I don't know what's going to happen when this thing breaks, but it looks really cool. There's a pretty decent cargo area. It's not enormous. It's a small car. Rear seats do fold flat. There's also a very small compartment in the front trunk, or the frunk, and it's really small. I don't know what you're really going to carry in there, but there is some room up there. The GV60 by Genesis has all the technology, performance, and comfort that most drivers will ever need. As a purpose-built electric vehicle, this may be one of the best compact luxury models on the market that I have driven to date. Now, I haven't driven a Tesla for evaluation purposes. I've been in a couple. I've been in the 3. I've been in the S, I've been in the X, but I haven't really evaluated them. I think I took I took a 3 for a ride. It was fine, but I haven't evaluated one because, frankly, I don't think Tesla really cares that I haven't. But if you want to check out, you want to see what the GV60 is like, you can go to my Instagram page. If you go to Instagram, it's John F. Paul on Instagram, just like my Twitter or X or whatever that thing's called, or Mr. John F. Paul on Facebook, or Car Doctor Podcast on Facebook. A lot of the stuff ends up there too. So let's talk to Tom in Weymouth. We haven't talked to Tom in a bit. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, John. John, I'm purchasing electric cars. It's all of things, first of all, which is not so that you said. Range envy. You have to have electrical. So it's just not simple. You know what I mean? It's many, many things that are going on. In all my years of my life, buying cars for the past 5 years or so, this is the hardest time right now I've ever had to try to pick a car to buy. When I was young, it was money. Now it's just, you just can't figure it out. They've all so complicated, and they have so many things you do want, you don't want. I can't even come to terms. I research them all the time.
It is really hard because this is, and I keep calling it the new golden age of the automobile because you can get a plug-in hybrid, you can get a regular hybrid, you can get a gasoline car, you can get a battery electric car, you can get a car that's going to almost drive itself. You're going to get a car with tons of technology. In one way, I'm kind of glad that my regular car that I drive every day, that now is 5 years old, has not a lot of technology in it. I wish it had a better backup camera, which it has a terrible backup camera. But other than that, in some ways, I'm kind of happy it doesn't have a lot of this other additional safety systems, although we know that these safety systems can save lives and prevent crashes. But the technology comes at a cost. And at what point is the buying public going to say, I don't want to spend $60,000, $65,000, $70,000 on a car when the average transaction price is, right around $50,000 now? I'm driving a Mazda CX-90, the new Mazda SUV. It's $61,000. That's a lot of money for a vehicle, and it has a lot of options. It's a mild hybrid. It doesn't even tell you it's a hybrid, but it is. It's a mild hybrid. It uses a new straight six, which they're really bragging about. They put it right on the fender, inline 6-cylinder engine. But you're right, there is a ton of technology. There's a ton of features in cars today. Do you really need a car that you wave your foot under the rear bumper and it opens up the hatch, or do you really need vibrating, massaging seats? I know I don't. I find them annoying.
And the other thing, other than that, is after listening to your other guests about how all your privacy is gone in these cars,
Well, there is that, and anyone who thinks that, telematics, the idea that your vehicle is, going to talk to the manufacturer and it can update itself, and it will update itself. There's no question. There's these over-the-air updates, but part of it also is the commercial part of it. The idea that you're, pick whatever car it is. Your Cadillac Escalade knows that every day that you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you get a large regular coffee and a coffee roll, because the GPS system knows that you're going to that Dunkin' Donuts. It knows you're going to that Dunkin' Donuts. And what I said to my old boss one time was, you drive your car in there every day, and I said, how does your car know that you're wearing your seatbelt? And he goes, well, I don't know. How does it know? And I said, there's a weight sensor in your seat that knows that you're sitting in your seat, and knows that to either turn the airbag on or off. If you're a very petite person, it'll shut the airbag down or slow it way down. Or when you put a 20-pound bag on your passenger seat, it's not heavy enough, so it knows there's something there, but it makes sure that the airbag won't go off if you get into a crash. I said, how does it know that at one point it might go, your car all of a sudden, as you pull up to the Dunkin' Donuts line, goes, Mr. Smith, maybe you want to skip that donut today because you put on a couple of pounds, and we know that. So
yeah, we don't.
Yeah, and it's the same thing if you on radios with people that listen to satellite Sirius XM, for instance, you can tag a song. So if it comes up somewhere, even if you're not listening to that station, it'll pop the song back up. So how does it, where are you at a point where, if it's a certain artist that you tag the song with, that all of a sudden you get an offer from Ticketmaster to buy tickets to that concert because the car knows exactly what you like and what you're doing. So there's right. There's a lot of future technology that we don't even know about yet, that your car is kind of gathering a lot of information about you. And maybe in 10 or 15 or 20 years, or whenever they figure out what to do with it all,
isn't collecting, you go on your cell phone, your computer, or whatever.
I was looking at I don't know, something, water heaters one day. And, the next thing I know, every time I look at my phone, there's an ad for a water heater. You know, it's like, wait a minute, I wasn't looking on Facebook for water heaters, but all of a sudden on Facebook there's, every time I turn around there's a advertisement for a water heater. But you're right, everything's, it seems like everything's listening, and maybe that's paranoid sound, but
right.
But it certainly sounds it.
You have another second if you have a call.
Sure. No, go ahead. Although your phone's cutting in and out a little bit, so.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'll go closer to something. Okay, I hope that's better.
That is.
Yes. So, like I said, I've been watching cars, trying to come to terms, and I just can't, because I want to know in case something happens to my car. And you have to pull that switch, and you have to get one. So I was following sort of a more upgrade car, like it was an Audi, and I kind of liked it. Then I noticed this year, for 2022 or whatever it was, all of a sudden now that you can only get it in hybrid. And I'm like, I don't want that. So I went to the dealer just recently, because I went online and I noticed something different. And I said, is this new model 24 going to have that hybrid? He goes, no, nobody was buying it. So, so they are getting feedback from us for not purchasing.
Right.
So if you're an anti-electric person like I am, then I won't buy a car just for that reason. It sounds bad, but
the hybrid. I really think. I mean, as far as this push to complete battery electric cars, I personally, I'm not sure if it's really going to happen. Maybe it will. I don't know. But I think hybrid or plug-in hybrid is really the answer. Although there's still battery costs and battery. The fear of what can happen to a battery, but I think if you're the last plug-in hybrid I drove charged just fine with the outside outlet that I plug stuff into, and it went about 40 miles between charges, and on most days I don't even think the gasoline engine would run. But if I wanted to go, if it was a vehicle that I wanted to drive to Florida, I wouldn't have to worry about trying to find a charging station. I could just gas it up whenever I gas it up and know that, okay, my gas mileage is going to be not as good as it was when the battery was fully charged, but I'm going to be able to get where I'm going without trying to find a charging station. So for me, I think a plug-in hybrid or a battery electric hybrid, a regular hybrid would be the best choice. But even at that, you pay for more as you're going along. Hey, we got to go because we still got another break to take. But as always, good questions, good comments. Love talking to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We need to take another break. My name is John Paul. This is the Car Doctor program. You're listening on 95.9 WATD. We'll be right back.
AAA is with you at every moment in your life. They have 24-hour 7 roadside assistance, which covers you in any car you're driving or riding in, even a rental or your friend's wheels. They have great member rates on home and auto insurance, savings on travel, hotels, and rental cars, and discounts on hundreds of your favorite brands. You're covered on and off the road. Learn more at aaa.com/join.
It happens all over Massachusetts.
Can you tie my shoes?
In every home and every community.
Be careful on your bike.
Learning can happen anytime, anywhere.
We'll see you at practice this weekend.
And no matter how learning takes place in your family's life, DESE is there as your partner. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Never stop learning. Find out more at mass.gov/back-to-school.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department for Elementary and Secondary Education.
Talk radio with a South Shore point of view. Hi, I'm Kevin Tachi. Join me tomorrow for Monday Night Talk, where the South Shore comes to talk. Tomorrow night after the 6 o'clock news here on 95.9 WATD.
Make an appointment Sunday morning at 11 for John Paul, the Car Doctor, on 95.9 WATD. Now, back to the Car Doctor.
And welcome back to the Car Doctor program. And by the way, if you see Kevin Tachi, wish him a happy birthday. Facebook told me it was his birthday this week. So, happy birthday to him. Someone wrote to me and said, I have a basic manual transmission, 2019 Subaru Impreza, 5-door, no frills. The one thing I miss is not having a CD player, which had been deemed no longer feasible. When I purchased the car, I asked if a CD player could be installed, and the dealer told me no. Can I have a CD player installed elsewhere, and is my car capable of having satellite radio? The dealer could have actually put a CD player in it. Many Subaru models, there was an option to be able to tuck it inside the center console. It was a kind of dealer installed, a port installed thing. But the other option is you can get a little standalone CD player that plugs into a USB plug, so it actually powers up through the USB plug and also plays through that, just like if you plugged in your phone and played it through that. Sirius XM has adapters as well. The other option is you could always just upgrade the radio, the one that has everything you want. You can probably even buy a radio with a cassette player in it. The other option is, just go to an auto stereo store, see what they have. You might find that a Bluetooth adapter will at least get you the Sirius XM that you're looking for. If you have Sirius XM in your car, for instance, you can use it just about everywhere. If you have a smart speaker, you can put it on your cell phone. There's options to do that. Also, don't take the first price. I have the old Volkswagen that we have here that stays here had a Sirius, I think it was an XM radio in it. That's how old it was. And I called up and I said, I wanted. Actually, what I was doing, I was trying to troubleshoot the radio because the radio didn't work, and I suspected it was the antenna, but I wasn't sure. And I, at the time, didn't have the tools to pull the radio out. The radio uses these two little hook things that pull the radio out. And I called up Sirius and said, or XM or whatever they're called, and said, can you turn the radio on for, you guys are doing a free preview? And they said, yeah, we can do that. And they did. And I said, how much would it be to get it? And they told me it was $29 a month. I ended up getting it for $5 a month, so you can get it cheaper. So there's a lot of options. Hey, that music means we need to go. We are just about out of time for right now. Next week on the Car Doctor program, we're going to be, is it September already? But we're going to be talking to Gunther from the Newport Car Museum. Till next week, make sure you wear your seatbelt, drive safely, be good to your car, and if you see an emergency vehicle by the side of the road, slow down or move over. It saves lives. Talk to y'all next week. Bye-bye.